It's the SDG podcast. We're here with the podcasters. Say hello and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Peter Lawrence.
Hi, I'm Chad Jetner.
And hi, I'm Clare Patera.
And I'm Kyle Bacher. And today we're going to talk about the world of delivery. DoorDash,
Grubhub has the easy
Bite
job
Squad.
on the intros.
Yeah.
Goes fast.
Amazon, anything that has to get dropped off on your doorstep is fair game. And the systems behind it,
Ooh,
the process, procedures, the anything is up for grabs.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's a broad topic.
That doesn't mean like you should talk about anything.
What do you mean?
Let's talk about what I want you to talk about. Oh, so let me start by complaining.
Oh, weird. That never happens.
No. All right. Let me start with a tip. Understand the food that you're ordering and the location of the restaurant.
Know your restaurant.
Yeah.
Pasta from 60 miles away will be fine. Tacos, hard shell tacos, no, not so much.
Then you
No.
end up with soft shell tacos or
Right.
a combination.
If the restaurant is not in your front yard, your French fries will be cold.
Yes.
Who doesn't, like, who orders food and doesn't understand it? Like,
Besides Kyle.
You'd be surprised. You would be shocked. And sometimes you just don't think about it. You're like,
what?
taco
I'm just
sounds
saying,
good.
Kyle, when I order a pizza,
Can
I
you send
understand
it back?
completely what's coming, right?
Do you
Yeah.
though? The
Pizza.
other thing is, I have a rule is if that bag is not sealed, if that container is not sealed, if I look out on my doorstep and I'm peering into an open bag and I can see my deep fried
French fries.
wontons,
Your wontons.
I do not want to eat them.
What?
Make sure the bag
Kyle,
is sealed.
But
Come on
aren't you
now.
aren't you
It
just
should be a
camping out?
rule. Like they should have a rule about that. Like
Do you put it in your
some
special
kind of
mode?
tamper-proof, tamper-resistant thing. I just don't. I'm not worried about like the driver stealing my food as much as I'm worried about like it just being exposed to the air.
I feel like it's the same rules as when I go to McDonald's and get my daughter French fries, right? Like every once in a while, she'll send me to McDonald's and she'll, hey, Dad, I want some French fries. I'll go get her some French fries. What am I going to say? No, French fries are awesome, and so is she. So I'm going to go get her some French fries, and as I'm bringing those home, I'm going to steal a few French fries.
Delivery
And I feel
truck.
like that same arrangement is active with the DoorDash guy. Like if he's bringing me food, he gets to just have a couple of fries,
Pretty
right?
sure it's not, Chad.
No.
What? Why the heck would it?
Both of my kids are Door Dashers.
McDonald's should be throwing in a small fry for the DoorDasher to enjoy on the way
right.
There you
there.
go.
You know,
That's
if
how-
there's
I
some
like
way of get your driver a little something, something, if there was that option and you could
Yeah.
order additional, because I've done that like Instacart or Instacart, ordering groceries. I've chatted to the driver like, hey, pick yourself up a pop on your way out the door on me.
Oh.
Wow.
And there
Really?
it's like they have it in writing.
You're,
And
you're
it's easy
throwing
for
an
them
extra
just to do.
extra
Yeah.
50 cents off the top. Get yourself something.
Is
Get
that their
yourself
tip
something nice
pile?
from me.
Tip
Just
number
50
3,
cents.
just because it's not in the system does not mean you cannot order it.
You can try. Is that so? Is the pop their tip? Is
When
that
you
their
look,
tip
when you go to Driscoll's, Jerry's over in Edina,
for the
in
donuts?
Instacart, and you want jelly-filled donuts with the white frosting from their
They're-
bakery,
and they're
there's
not there?
there's no listing for that.
Ah,
So here's what you do.
So what do you
Go
do?
on there.
How do you do it? How do you tell us your
You
secrets,
chat,
Kyle?
you text, you start building up a relationship with your grocery picker person.
I
you get the
I
same
was-
one
And
every
text
time.
them and say, like, hey, can you do me a favor? If you see these in the bakery, would you grab a couple for me? They're the white frosted jelly filled Bismarck donuts. I try to use as many keywords in there as possible to make it easier for them to know what they're looking for. Because not everybody knows donuts the way I do.
I was desperately hoping to hear that Kyle reversed engineered the donut ordering API.
That's right.
And actually hacked it to actually introduce additional options that are only available to him. That would have been
Injected
you
the jelly
lost me at engineered.
He just grabs him and says, "Hey, there's an extra fiber in it for you. Pick me up some donuts."
It's like a SQL injection attack, but with jelly
Right.
filled.
jelly donut.
Jelly
attack.
filled injection.
So, this didn't start until what? When did these delivery services begin?
Oh,
Like
ago.
20 years ago.
20 years ago
No,
was
I would
Amazon's
say
first
longer than
delivery.
Well, we had like growing up in Eden Prairie, we had a grocery club
Yeah.
or the grocery wagon. I think it was called the grocery wagon. And they drop off menu or stuff. They drop off like brochures or whatever, catalog.
Yeah.
And then you call and you put your order in.
Schwann's.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Schwann's is like the original food delivery service.
But this newfangled gig economy way of doing things is rather new, which required like GPS to be in place and maps and people to have smartphone. Like it relied on all this technology to be in place in order to operate effectively. Like Uber was like the first, I think, gig thing that started up, right? That used all of that stuff.
The first biggest one. Yeah.
Biggest one. And then everybody went, hey,
Not a bad
yeah, we
idea.
could do. Which is weird because Uber Eats came after like Bite Squad, DoorDash, Grubhub.
Yep.
And those ones.
Peapod.
Peapod. I've never used Peapod.
I've never even heard of Peapod.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
I like the name Peapod though.
Was it
Just
Simon
hearing that word
Delivers?
makes me happy.
Simon Delivers.
Peapod.
Simon Delivers, yeah.
I remember that.
Does he?
That became Coburn's Delivers.
Coburn's Delivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's groceries, right?
But yeah,
That's
and
groceries.
Lunds and Byerly's has a delivery service as well.
Yep. I was doing that a while ago.
Everybody has a grocery delivery service, I think. Maybe
Wow.
not.
Yeah. But you're right. Simon Delivers, that was over 20 years ago
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
they
right. It
figured
was a
that
long
out.
time.
That was, that was
Yeah,
a
'cause
long,
my kids were
time.
little.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah. Did
getting-
that go away?
No,
It's Coburn's
it
Delivers now.
evolved.
Okay. And that was around groceries, not like fresh
Yes.
restaurant food.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
no.
I think
But-
it's changed like the restaurant business. And I think we're seeing like I can open a restaurant and I don't have to have a restaurant
Yeah.
to do it.
I'm surprised you're not selling cheeseburgers out of your back door there, Kyle.
Well, I think that's what's happening because I see all these places pop up and they have like 5 items on the menu. Like here's our 4 different kind of Phillies and canned pop.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's like Bill's Phillies or something. In a
I
fast
obviously
place
don't.
thing.
Not Phil's. They went
Phil's.
with Bill.
No.
Come on.
That it's a real thing though. So there's the commercial kitchen industry that fuels a lot of the food truck stuff, right? Like these food truck guys generally don't just prepare all their ingredients at home and then load it up on the truck. They
They're
go to a
not
commercial
going
kitchen.
out to the farmer,
Yeah.
picking eggs.
They get commercial kitchens and then they blah blah blah. And I would imagine that there's an aspect of that with a lot of this stuff. My wife loves Eddington's. And you guys remember Eddington's, a soup place?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that doesn't really even exist anymore, right?
Right.
Like the store's all shut down, but they still have a commercial kitchen in Northeast Minneapolis that you can order from. And
Really?
if you go there, it's really just you walk up to an actual warehouse and you walk in the back and there's Eddington's. There's dudes just
Yeah.
preparing soup all day.
And breadsticks.
And it's the breadsticks. Yeah, the soup
It's
is
the
fine,
breadsticks.
but the breadsticks, that's the money.
They did some biscuits and gravy for breakfast as well. We used to go down there when I worked at the government center.
Oh yeah, in the
Had one
Skyway.
down there.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, these commercial kitchens are probably what you're actually ordering from a lot of the times if you don't see a brick and mortar around it. But I had a thought, and it's Not with
Uh-oh.
me anymore. I know.
Hold on.
Sounds like
Let me get my
sounds
notebook
it
out.
walked
Wait, it's
away.
what?
It's not with me anymore.
Oh,
It is left.
We killed it.
Yeah.
that never happens to me.
Speaking
Commercial
of delivery,
kitchens.
yeah. Oh no. Completely different. Somebody mentioned the Amazon thing and their whole like how that has just changed how we do everything, right? Like I can order like common things and have it at my doorstep literally within a couple hours now, which is just bonkers to me.
Right.
But
It's
like,
handy.
it is handy. The
Very.
other side of that is my youngest son is serving in Kuwait right now. And it is a pain in the butt for me to send him a package. But if I go to Amazon and just type in the address, they've got all the logistics figured out. I send him a box of teddy bears, right? Just as a joke. Like, hey, buddy, hope you're doing okay. Here's, 50 teddy bears. Daddy's not drinking at bars anymore, so I got some teddy bears.
So they probably just containerize it and drop it off at the nearest Air Force base and say, ship this over here.
Yeah, it's literally he's got an Army address, and the Army figures out the logistics of where that address currently exists in the world, because it's a static address. It's just now it's over here, and then Amazon must do something because when we send them something, it's got to have custom slips and all this other junk. But when we do it through there, here's the address, send them some flaming hot Cheetos, finger snap,
And some
That's
chopsticks.
awesome.
and yes, and some chopsticks or a spoon if you're weird.
Yeah, that's really awesome and good to
If
know.
you're normal,
Yes.
American,
So
don't have chopsticks laying around.
I worked at a few delivery places a long time ago in one of my past lives. I delivered for Pizza Hut, Domino's, Devani's,
So,
Presto
the same
Pizza. And the most unusual one was a startup concept called Bringers.
Bringers.
Yep. And we drove around in full-size Ford vans.
Oh, that's right. You had the kitchen on wheels experience.
Yep. And Kathy, Dan Schwee's wife, worked in the kitchen. Not to
Really?
be a name dropper. I didn't realize that. And then I learned that just hanging out with them one day. Because I love the story of us driving full-size Ford vans around with a generator in the back with a convection oven, a microwave, a big refrigerator, a cooler with dried ice for ice cream, a printer, two-way radio,
Oh my,
talking about a food
little
truck,
digital
right?
readout thing.
essentially.
What a food
What-
truck that's not a food truck because they deliver it to your door.
And
Yeah.
it's basically a hybrid of a like DoorDash
and a food
and
truck.
a food truck.
Did you have
and
a limited
pizza
menu?
and a
Like,
pizza
what did you
delivery
bring?
place.
What did you bring? Bringer.
Really good food. It was, I still think it's the best beef stroganoff I've ever had.
Wow. I've never even heard of that.
Burgers with fries that were not so great because we made them in this track air superheated convection oven. We also had a microwave. So you're driving, and if you think driving with a cell phone is bad, try driving while you're cooking.
I think that's illegal.
I'm pretty sure it was, but
Cooking while driving is not allowed.
we were instructed to pull over or get to the house. Like you want to pull over and start your stuff,
Right.
get everything going in the microwave, the tracker oven, and then keep driving, and then pull off if you had to. Like you'd want to kind of time it out.
Wait. So you were by yourself in this van, and you were
Yep.
responsible for driving, cooking,
And
all of that
delivering,
stuff.
navigating.
Okay.
I only I think worked there for like 6 months.
You made it that long.
Well, I think it only lasted that long. They shut it down. But
Why?
Couldn't get enough stroganoff orders.
because it took all this infrastructure and gas and all that and equipment
Somebody
to
did the
deliver
math.
somebody a $25 bag of food. And we just weren't doing the volume that we would need
Yeah.
to make that profitable. But yeah, it was funny. I never wrecked a van. It was weird. I when I had my review, they said you've had a perfect record. You've never done anything wrong. You've never been late. You've
that we
never
caught
messed
you
up on
doing.
an order. She's like, I've never seen anything like it. And I'm like, yeah, me neither. I don't know what happened. I guess
It's
no
really-
one saw me go the wrong way down a one way while cooking up some Alfredo.
That's right.
As a recovering human resources professional, it's really sad that the measure of success was you didn't crash the van.
You didn't screw up. Yeah.
So that's what my daughter says every time we get back. We
Yeah.
successful drive. We didn't crash.
Well, there was people that were like all
I
the
get
time
that
were
when you're
dinging up the
15 years
vans
old.
all the time, like because they were big and heavy,
Sure.
and some of those streets like South Minneapolis, where it's all on-street parking.
Yeah.
You're
Half a lane
folding your
down the middle.
mirrors in.
Just to drive down the alleyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring yours.
So I feel like a lot of places have been experimenting, and I think that now that the pandemic has struck and created the perfect test environment to ramp up quickly, throw lots of money at a problem, and get it successful, with the exception of hardshell tacos from 60 miles away. I mean, as someone that has not ordered food dropped off at my front door since the pandemic, actually, which is really weird.
That is weird.
Have not ordered a pizza delivered since I don't even know how long. It mostly just because.
Well, don't start now.
Well, I'm not going to.
You're
But
saving a ton of money.
well,
Right.
and that's part of it, right? Like, it keeps you from going out to eat if you don't have it dropped off at your front door, because that's a very convenient way to get food.
But you can get groceries delivered.
We drive over and pick up our groceries too. I don't. Yeah, it's like, I don't know what happened. I feel like at some point, because we used to get Simon Delivers all the time, and it would, those great green totes sitting in the front of the house for waiting for the next week delivery. It was perfect. But now we have not. But I'm just kind of surprised. Like, I see a lot of the DoorDash people and Uber Eats and everything else while I'm picking up my own food or having it brought curbside, which I feel like that's going away pretty quickly. Like the
Curbside pickup.
the curbside model doesn't quite work. Like the Chipotle walk in and get it from the shelf model, that works, but they can't get that last 30 feet. It's kind of the 1 mile problem for mass transit.
Yeah.
It's 30 feet problem for food transit.
Well, it might be timing. It might be that all of a sudden they're notified and have to get the food out right away. And then at that moment, they have to remember, like, beverage, to take the beverages out of the fridge. And,
Well, no, you got it all set up and it's all ready to go. And then you text them and say, I'm here, right? And then they rush it out to your car.
Right.
I'm in spot number 7. Bring it on.
Is it correct?
No, but most of the time, yes, actually, it's gotten way better
Oh,
than
yeah.
at the start. I mean,
Yeah.
at the start of the pandemic, it's like a toothbrush. Why do I have a toothbrush in here? I'm ordering bread from Walmart and I get a toothbrush? This is
Well,
not right.
I think the workforce out there that's doing it, the drivers, I think they're getting better at it.
Right.
And
Practice makes perfect.
the restaurant employees, I think they're figuring out where the problems are.
Sure.
So I used to have an issue where I would order like frozen lemonade from Applebee's or some other frozen drink with my food, and they would always forget it. So one day I called over there, I'm like, maybe you can give me the inside scoop.
What do I got to put down on my order?
When this store opened, I trained all your servers for it. You got to give me, I'm kind of an insider. I'm kind of a big deal around here.
I know the drink
and
exists.
he said, well, the food comes out from the kitchen, the drinks come from the bar.
Right.
And that's 2 places for the driver to have to check.
Ah.
And so it's not all just right there staring them in the face.
Right.
They go to get the food, they grab the bag, and they think, well, this is it.
Did you ring a
without
tiny
really
bell
reading
for 'em?
closely? Because I think sometimes those tickets are hard to read, and you're a human, so you might miss something.
Right.
And some people probably don't like really take the time to check thoroughly.
I'm not sure that detail oriented is your top feature of a
I
DoorDash
actually
driver.
also wonder whether or not it's the driver's job to put the order together.
Right.
No,
That
I
would
think
be
that
my
Applebee's should have
question.
been putting all that together in like a little box or something.
Exactly, or
Right.
at least have the drink. They should have put it together, had the drink
Yeah.
with the food next
And
to the
sealed
bag.
it up
The
for
driver
Kyle's
should-
I don't think that's the
Walk
driver's
in,
role.
grab one thing,
Yeah.
a box of whatever, and have it all be sealed
Yeah,
and not be responsible for double checking it.
That's right.
correct.
All right.
And
Chad,
then-
you're being quiet.
Yeah, and I think that's more that's happening now.
Honestly, guys, I'm just happy that I can order food to be delivered from Chipotle, and if it's right, that's awesome. If it's not, I still have a burrito.
Right.
I don't care, right?
I
They're
will
bringing
bring
me-
you to the dark side at some point, Chad.
No,
Your
it's-
positivity is a problem.
Some stranger brought me a burrito to my front door. How can I be grouchy about that? I don't care if you gave me I probably care if you gave me a Diet Coke, but I got a burrito.
You can't
Like, I
take
didn't have
candy
a
from
burrito a
strangers,
half
but you
hour
can
ago.
take a burrito.
Yeah, I didn't have
Well,
a
you
burrito a
can't
half hour
you
ago.
can't be just stunned and amazed at how awesome everything is.
Have you?
Yes,
seen
You have to be a normal human and get used to everything
No,
and then
I-
look for everything wrong with it.
I totally appreciate
No,
where
have
you're
you
coming
seen-
from, Chad.
Yeah, have you seen everything? Like, it's awesome, all of it, right? I
Right.
don't have to do anything. There's a thing on my phone that has a picture of a burrito on it. I touch it, and then in a half hour, a
You have a
burrito
burrito.
comes to me.
Right.
That's magic, man.
And
Like,
it
that is
came
magic.
to you from a place that was close by and didn't have a chance to get too soggy. And it was a
I'll take a
soft shelled, so it wasn't like gross.
Kyle, I feel like you're not understanding your food properly, right? Like,
I think I understand my food pretty well now. I really wish they
He's
would
learned his
not
lesson.
put French fries and a hamburger or steak or whatever in the same container.
I think
I wish the restaurant understood their food better.
here's the thing. I kind of wish like all software projects moved as quickly as Hy-Vee's online ordering system did.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like it went from absolutely nothing in February of 2020 to kind of a cruddy thing within a few months to all of a sudden, like I touch all my things and they're like, hey, you got some Flamin' Hots last time. They got a new flavor. You want that? Yeah, sure. And then all of a sudden, like you just go there and they throw a bunch of food in bags for you. And again, it's about like 75% accurate, but there's always some fun surprises in there, right? Like
That's right.
I didn't know I ordered a cantaloupe. I guess that it's there, so I have a cantaloupe now.
Obviously you did.
like-
Otherwise they wouldn't give you one, right?
Yeah, and I get it. Honeydew, that's your money melon, but I'm not going to be mad at a cantaloupe. It's, you know,
I think the cantaloupe is the superior melon.
I do too. I'm
Yeah.
with you,
no,
Kyle.
Little salt,
Oh man,
Yep.
I'm
all you
I'm
need.
staying out of the melon wars here. There's
Yeah.
nice
there's
big
no
wedge of
winner
melon.
here.
Watermelon to me is not good. I don't like it. I don't know if
No.
it's the seeds or
Seeds are
Yeah.
in the wrong spot.
yeah.
Even seedless. Boo.
imagine that team that put that together in that time frame, right? Like how,
Oh
how
yeah.
they're like, and not only were they just like, hey, let's build an app for Hy-Vee, like they're literally probably saving a few lives while they're doing it, right?
Oh,
and
the
it-
technology is amazing.
And it comes out
yeah.
updates every week or so
Yeah.
or two.
Oh,
I
Employee
appreciate
companies
all of
doing-
and the accuracy of the GPS has gotten better.
Yep.
yeah. I mean, all of it is just like, it's mind boggling to me. And I do this, right? Like I'm on a software project. I'm writing software. I cannot fathom what that project looked like for I'm talking specifically about Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee is based out of Iowa, right? So like who the heck wrote this? Because I don't think they have computers in Iowa.
Well, they just got roads.
There's a few.
Computers
You
are
go to the
next.
general store, use the computer there.
Yeah.
And that's the STL weight.
And so like
So we will not cast aspersions on Iowa. We have
No, we love
have
Iowa.
a lot of awesome developers that are from Iowa.
Correct.
Hello, Brian.
A lot. So
A
many.
lot.
I can barely name them by name.
Steph.
Brian.
Nate.
Yeah.
We got a bushel of them. We got a package deal of them about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Predominantly single syllable names. Iowa.
Yeah.
Go figure. But no, I just think like it's all just magic, you know, like how fast that happened, how perfectly all the circumstances lined up for GPS to be a thing, for iPhones, all the technology stack supports all this. And then we had a pandemic, and then everybody was able to write all this code from home. And then all of a sudden your grandma can go to Hy-Vee and have some 16-year-old kid throw all of her groceries in the trunk, and
Yep. Up
bam,
she goes.
she gets to,
Yep.
you know, she
Stay
sends you
healthy.
$5 on your birthdays again. It's great.
Oh,
All of that is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I've shifted my expectations, but then they've brought their game up as well. They've kind of met me halfway.
Hy-Vee
So
specifically.
I don't ever really
Oh,
expect
everybody.
redelivery, or like I'm not surprised at things. And like if I'm ordering from a new place, I'll order like a few different things so I have some options in case I don't like one thing. Because if you order like one thing and you don't like it, you're really out of luck.
Then you got to wait another half hour. For
Otherwise,
the
you got
next one.
leftovers.
Yeah. Here's a thing I'm seeing now too, is one restaurant that's actually a few different restaurants. So
yeah.
Mhm.
There's a turducken of a restaurant up in Garrison, Minnesota, and it absolutely it blows my mind because it is a Burger King / Broadway Pizza / bar and grill in the back, right? Like
Yep.
all of those things under one roof.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an Arby's Sparrow, but like 1,000 times better.
I still like the Blue Goose if I'm in Garrison. Check out the Blue Goose.
The blue
Well,
goose.
yeah. I mean, if it was only just a slightly less flammable, it would still be around. But
Yeah, it's still around. They just turn it into a big metal building instead of
You
the
went
other
with
one that
metal
burned
this time,
down.
huh?
yeah,
The Blue Goose of my youth.
The youth goose.
I'm pining for the goose. Yeah.
Oh,
So
watch old
like
people. sit around.
I'm expecting that things will go wrong occasionally, and I no longer get bent out of shape about it.
Sure.
Although
So-
when they delivered the ultra spicy pierogies that were called the Sputnik for some reason, because they were so hot.
Where are you ordering from?
Like in the description, they mentioned tears, crying, like how hot these things were. And I
didn't
ordered
order
the bacon
them, or-
cheeseburger pierogies. And then I downed about 2 Sputniks before I realized that they were not what I ordered. And I was on fire for like a day and a half.
Let's just say that the person that got
Nightmares,
the cheeseburgers,
um,
pierogies was disappointed.
That was a serious mistake.
These aren't very hot at all. I should order the really hot ones.
Yeah.
I like just having a podcast every once in a while where we just go through all the stuff that Kyle ordered that didn't quite work out right. Like I ordered this kind of pierogi and I got
I
this
just
kind of
don't know if we
pierogi,
have
and
that
I'm
kind of time.
mad at the world.
And
But I
and
tell
the
you what,
fa-
if I like spicy food, I think those Sputniks would have been the way to go.
and the really hard thing to swallow is that we are in the
Sputnik
middle
soda.
of a pandemic and we're complaining about getting the wrong pierogi in Minnesota.
This was
This is
pre-pandemic.
What?
This is pre-pandemic.
Oh.
Those pierogies
Either
really
way.
struck a chord. Like you can hold a grudge, Kyle. I will say that. Like you're still
Oh.
mad about that?
King of.
I still want my second backpack.
King of.
I won't explain it. I won't go into it. It's a mystery. But I now use the system they have in place as well. Like I'll just go, and if something didn't get delivered, and I know I'm going to order again, I'll let them off the hook and let them do store credit because that's what they want, so they can get you back. Like,
Wait,
I will
what
just
are we talking about? If you get the wrong order, you can say something?
You go into help and you just fill out the form. They all have systems now built in for complaining.
Why would they do that?
Because they want to give you some sort of customer service without actually
everybody
having to
has a delivery service.
I feel like that system in Minnesota is kind of redundant, right? Like, we just it's not what I ordered, but I guess this is fine, right? Like, whatever.
What Minnesota are you from?
Why waste time on that feature?
Well, I spent a lot of time working in restaurants, so I have fairly high standards. Like when I was working, I never did this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I would never send food back. I have sent one thing back in my entire life, and it was only because someone was egging me on. Essentially, someone dared me because I said, "Oh, this wasn't it was a drink at a bar," and I'm like, "It wasn't what I was expecting. I didn't really like it." They're like, "Send it back." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to send it back." They goaded me into sending it back, and it felt awful.
I will send stuff back. Yeah. Like if it's not right. My biggest pet peeve are eggs. If I order some eggs over easy and it's over hard with the cellophane on the edges,
wow,
I can't deal with it. Steak, if you give me a well done steak and I order medium rare, I'm not going to put up with it. And sometimes if it's perfectly good, I'll send it back just as a drill, just to give the server practice on dealing with difficult customers.
Oh, they love that.
I'm trying to help them. I'm making them better.
They love that. I know for a fact that all servers probably think of you more as a hero than as a problem right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's I don't want to guess at how much extra ingredients Kyle has consumed over his lifetime from sending food back and having it come back out.
I'm usually very nice about it. Yeah.
Pretty pleased.
It always starts with, I know this isn't your fault. I'm not blaming you. I'm not going to take this out of your tip. I've been over tipping since the pandemic started. I tip.
Same.
Like they don't have a button. I have to do custom.
Yep.
Like
I've been doing the same thing. So if I do go to a bar, right? Every beer is $10 right now. Like for my regular bars, like the places that I've been going forever. Places, I'm such an idiot. The place I've been going forever.
One place.
It's just if I go there now, I didn't go for a very, very long time, but if I go now, $10. You get every beer is $10. I think it's normally like $3. I don't even know what it normally is. But that's it's if you're not tipping way more, then stay home. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. That's
well, I always look at it like I am the fortunate one in this situation. I've been blessed with a job that I can do from my house, and living in an area where I can get high-speed internet and where I have a billion different options of getting things dropped off on my front doorstep. That it's like, okay, I need to take care of these people that are out there, like blowing the COVID off their windshields with their windshield wipers, just trying to get to my house.
What are the things
I just feel like they're putting themselves at higher risk so that I can have too many tacos.
What are the things that you can't get delivered today? Like, is there anything left? Like, I can get
love,
I can get beer.
Hope. No.
Can you get cigarettes delivered?
I don't think so.
Really?
No, I can. I mean, I just sent my daughter.
I don't think you can get alcohol delivered. Oh, well, that's not
Total
true.
Wine will deliver
that's not
alcohol.
true, but only from a licensed, only from licensed places.
Yeah, and you gotta hand your license out to them, and they scan it in their system.
And you can get cigarettes delivered. You can get cigarette. I mean, you just send, like I do. I just send my daughter to the corner store with a note. Right?
Yeah.
Dad wants cigarettes.
That's a different kind of delivery.
This is not the
service.
1970s.
Yeah, you can get everything now.
The old days.
I'm talking from a service ordered online. I'm just trying to think of things that are sort of outside the norm that that you want to have delivered.
My daughter is a couple of months away from having an app, so she'll be online soon. Delivering cigarettes.
This isn't like the olden days where if you're old enough to ride a bike, you're old enough to smoke, for Pete's sake.
Yes, that is accurate.
I don't. I quit smoking.
Maybe tobacco is the one thing you can't get delivered anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah, I quit smoking, and I'm really glad that there hasn't been like cigarette delivery places spring up
around you.
Like,
I'm surprised I haven't.
There's been some days where I'm like, man, but having the inconvenience of having to get up and like walk more than, walk to my car. Like I'd have to walk out to my car and then drive somewhere and then walk in and back out. And that's just, I'm not having it.
Nope. After being indoors during the pandemic, if Kyle goes outside, he might actually implode upon contact.
The sun. I'm afraid of the sun.
Yeah.
I'll burn
Kyle,
up.
You're going to be amazed when you get outside again. Gravity is actually weird these days, right? Like you just start floating. It's unreal.
I think like it's good for me to know that there's gainful employment out there that's easy to get. Like the whole delivery. I think I could go deliver, like even in my spare time, like there's like you could go out and like deliver groceries for food for a couple hours a night.
My
and
kids
get caught
do
up
that.
on your credit cards.
Both of my kids do that.
I was wondering where you were going with that, Kyle, because you started out by saying it's good to know that there was gainful employment out there, and I'm like, oh my God, what did Kyle do? Like, what did you do, Kyle?
Like I'm looking, I'm thinking
He's
the
thinking he's
future
gonna
for
be
me
a
is
DoorDasher.
delivery.
Right.
No, I spent way too much time doing odd jobs and delivery and stuff. But this is something like I can see doing as a little side gig. If I like wanted to get caught up on something, pay something off sooner than later. Kind of a retirement thing. I'm too old to want to work anymore, which for me was 10 years ago. I'm too old to work anymore. I've retired, but now I want to go make a few bucks.
Yep.
Are you thinking because the newspaper delivery market is drying up that you'd have to switch over to food delivery?
I did a paper out one time for a guy that was going on vacation. Never again.
You guys we've all done Uber, right? Like we've all taken an Uber before.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lyft.
Yes.
What is the nicest Uber you've ever done? So I just ordered one, and I get Cadillac Escalades all the time. And it's some bored old fella that's just like, yeah, this is great. We go from the bar to the Twins games. My buddy actually got picked up in a Bugatti, and it was this guy that retired, and he's like, yeah, I just wanted to, I just drive around in my nice car and want to share it with people. And
I'll say this, a Prius back seat is surprisingly roomy.
It is, yeah.
As long as the front seat's pulled forward.
A Mini Cooper front seat is surprisingly roomy. Cooper Mini. One is the model, one is the company. I think
Mini Cooper.
it's the
Mini is the
Cooper Mini. It's Cooper's the company. They make the Mini.
Correct.
Do they?
Cooper is also another name for barrel maker.
Yes, it is.
I learned that in trivia. But the nicest Uber ride I think I've had was with a gentleman from Kenya, and we struck like up a conversation, and like I miss him. I still miss the guy.
Here's a question.
It was such
for you
an
guys.
interesting, fun conversation that we both enjoyed, and we hit it off right away. And I'm like, I want to hang out with this guy, and he was gone, and like
in a flash. Here's a question for you guys. Is it a Midwest thing to talk to your Uber, taxi, Lyft driver?
I just think it's friendly. It's nice to do.
So
I went to New York City and did that, right?
Yeah.
And they seemed very angry with me all the time. And it didn't register with me, right? Like I didn't care because I still want to know what's going on. I'm like, boy, how do you afford to live here? Where do you live? Or you live over there? Is that like, do you just live in an apartment? Where do you get your groceries?
Oh
How do you
my
take out your
gosh.
garbage? I would ask him all these questions.
Yes.
And some of them were like great, but like, yeah, I do that all the time. I talk to the Uber guys
So-
and
My daughter goes to school in Arizona, and she has a lot of friends who are not from Arizona. They're California, Arizona, even Missouri. And she gets in the Uber with them, and she talks to the guy. And when she first started down there, all of her friends are like, "Why are you talking to the Uber driver?" They couldn't believe that she was just being friendly and making
He's not
conversation.
artificial intelligence that was
Well, what
installed
it
in the
turned
big. He's a
into for-
person.
Well, because what it turned into for them is they had a woman who was a mother, and her kids were grown, or they were, I think her youngest was maybe in their teens, middle school, and she would drive at night. And I mean, this is a college town in Tucson, right? And
Yeah.
so she literally took it upon herself to be like, I'm going to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights to make sure that these college girls are getting home. And she tended to choose, rides with, girls that needed to get home or whatever. So they landed upon this woman, and then she ended up giving him just her cell phone number and said, "Hey, anytime you need a ride, call me."
yep.
Nice.
And I mean, that was all because my daughter started chatting her up.
Just having a
Yeah,
conversation.
that's cool.
Yeah.
A safe ride home.
Yeah.
I did
Can't
that
beat
in
it.
Seattle last year. I took an Uber, and it was from downtown Seattle out to this bar that I found on online. And the Uber guy drove me out there, and he was a nice guy. I was talking to him the whole time, and he's like, "Oh, you're from Minnesota. I don't get many of you people here." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what that means," but we started chatting, and I get to the bar, and he's like, "All right, here you go." And I'm like, "Cool. Do you want to come in for?" And the guy came in for had a drink, and well, he had probably too many, and then he went back in his Uber and started
Oh,
driving again.
goodness.
So
You didn't ride back
apologize
with
for
him,
that,
did you?
but-
I have a few bad Uber trips because I couldn't just like say anything nice, but and be positive about the whole. But I was one of them. My conversation started with, "Yeah, you need to pull over and let me out right now."
Wow. That's a tough
Well, when
conversation
you run
to have.
2 stop signs and you're driving like 50 and a 30,
Ooh.
like I'm done with you. I'm getting out of your car. You're not safe. And
Wow.
I'm guessing he didn't do it very long.
He probably didn't get any stars.
No, he got a big complaint from me because it's like, no, I'm not going to die in your car, dude.
Yeah.
Another time I was coming home late and I'm like, can you pull over at the McDonald's so I can get some food? Yeah, okay. And you're going to wait here for me? Yep, okay. As soon as I like started going and I heard him peel out and he was gone, he abandoned me
Wow.
at McDonald's.
Nice.
Terrible.
Did you
Which
call
is not
another
a bad
Uber?
place to get stuck, necessarily.
There's worse
but
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are far worse places.
Yeah,
What if you just called another Uber and it was the same guy?
that would be hilarious. But it was not.
Oh.
It took a while. They were busy, apparently. Yeah.
I love that Uber actually added the ability for the drivers to actually rate their passengers too. I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty brilliant.
I think it's good. You should have to behave. Why can't?
Uh-huh.
Why not?
Yeah.
I think
I
I would have loved to
Well-
have comment cards that I would fill out about customers when I worked as a server.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, this is going to your parents, just so you know.
That's an episode of Black Mirror, I think, where everybody gets rated on both sides.
Another one.
That's
Yay.
right.
Yeah, everybody gets rated on both sides of the transaction, and I actually don't think that's a horrible idea, right? Like if you knew that there was consequences for being just a goofball all the freaking time,
Mhm.
and you walked into a place and you just had a little 1-star, like if you're a 1-star person, well, I'll get to you when I get to you. I'm going to talk to the 5-star guys over here that want to tell me about, want to ask where I live in New York City when I give them a ride.
Yeah.
Like those, that should
But what
be
if Kyle sits down at your table and you know you're gonna have to take his food back?
3'6" Kyle.
That's right.
Well, I think what we're starting to talk about is a social credit score.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they did a really good episode about that on oh man, what's this the Seth
Seth,
Family
oh.
Guy, what's the space show?
Seth MacFarlane. Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's Family Guy space show.
Yeah, the Star Trek ripoff, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Trekish, is that what it's called?
no, I want to say Galaxy Quest, but that's the Tim Allen movie.
Oh,
No,
I love that
one
movie.
word begins with O, I think.
The something.
I
It's
have
the name
no
of the
idea
ship.
what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
Google
Here, you
it.
look it up.
Looking it up.
Yeah. But that's like, you know, if everybody was honest and accurate, that'd be a great idea.
right.
Yes.
Or we had the same system for rating people, right? Everybody's got, it's very subjective. That's also another problem, right? Because someone could get, you know, Chad could get in someone's Uber who appreciates him talking and gives him 5 stars for that, and the next guy doesn't appreciate it and gives him, you know, 1 star just because he got annoyed that he talked to him.
Yeah.
That second
Are
guy
you always
does take
supplying
this.
the context? Do you understand?
Right.
Like, do you have a full understanding of the situation?
Orville.
The Orville, yeah,
Yeah.
that show. They had one where they went to a planet that had that, and everybody was basically like upvoting or downvoting people. And then
Well,
the higher your score was, the more authority or pull you had in the society.
Community had the same thing. And there's an episode of Community
Yeah,
that did the same thing.
But I feel like it's just rife for abuse, right? I mean,
Totally.
just go on Twitter today, right? And see all of the
there should be
upvoting
like
or
specific things that are sort of binary. Like, did this either happened or it didn't, and they don't rely on context. Was your
Right.
food right?
Right.
Never go on Twitter. That's the best. Like, if you take anything
Yeah.
out of it, Twitter.
I like that advice.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. That's where I think all the social contract thing seems to devolve to or get
Sure.
to, right? It starts out very utopian and
Yeah.
I'll leave, but who's leaving 1-star reviews except for maniacs running 2 stop signs? Because they're going to rate you, and now if your rating drops below a certain level, nobody will pick you up, right?
Yeah. Like
So-
giving a good example of this is people that give a product a 1-star rating because it was damaged in shipping.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's not rating the product. That's
Right.
you had a bad shipping experience. Something bad happened. They put your glass chandelier in the same truck with the piano, and they didn't tie anything down.
Mhm.
And it's no wonder that piano got ruined.
But it's essentially the conversation you have when you send food back, right? You look at the server and say, I know this isn't your fault, but
right.
so
Yeah.
that's a
So
whole
I
other
think
podcast.
the takeaway,
I think this is a whole other podcast.
I think we could keep going on this, but I think the big takeaway is this technology is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It came together at a time. It's like it's like they planned for it. You're like, we need to have the logistics in place to be able to like be
I
at
will
home.
say that I think you're almost there, but I think the logistics weren't really in place on March 1st.
Right.
But you were a lot more flexible on March 1st than you are.
Exactly. Like, is
March
anyone
1st.
else still annoyed that you can buy things on Amazon Prime and still not get them for a week because of those restrictions, those problems?
I've I'm
my
trying to save
2-day
money, so
delivery.
I've cut down on the amount of shopping I do.
I get your point though, Claire. Like, I do.
Yeah.
Like, I've ordered a couple of things, and I'm like, man, it's been a day. What the heck? Why
Where
does
is
it
it?
take
Yeah.
more than a day now? Like,
Yeah.
we've been trained to expect.
Got trained for the high speed,
Yeah.
and now it's pandemic speed, and it's like, well, wait a minute.
I've kind of adjusted my expectations though, and that stuff doesn't bother me as much as it used to.
That's
Like
because
a
you're
package
complaining about
I
being
think
delayed
all
a
the
day.
time.
like Peter said, March 1st of last year, totally. I'm like, yep, it's going to take a while. I get that. Even around Christmas, like I planned better, right?
Yep.
Or the holidays to make sure that I was getting stuff in time.
But you
Now-
feel like the system is done, right? They should have picked up the
by now.
slack.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. Like, Yeah, even last year, I had other things to do, man. Like I can go out, I can do something. I'm not just sitting there waiting for the one guy to show up with the book that I'm
Right.
probably not even going to read anyway.
Right.
But
I can't get that until May 11th.
Yeah. But,
I still have stuff in boxes that I ordered 6 months ago that I haven't gotten to yet.
Well, that's why you don't care as much, because you just go open something when it was supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Oh, here's
I
my.
do-
Immediate
I
gratification
do see the
is waiting
future. I'm
for
like,
you.
you know what? I'm gonna need this keyboard someday for something. I've got this money.
Never.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
But we've been
awesome.
conditioned for sure.
Speaking of delivery, I don't know if you guys saw this before, but this was a Father's Day present that my daughter got me. I have a bell that I'm about to
Nice.
ring once we're done with the podcast. And she said, Dad, this is going to work. I promise you this will work for as long as I live in the house.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And so I
Well,
can
no
just
wonder
ring
you're
it.
so happy all the time. You
That's
can ring a
right.
bell and have
Right.
beer delivered in your own
Yes.
house.
Yeah, for
That's
people
cute.
listening, it's a little bell. It's a little red bell that says ring for beer. And if I ring this, she will be in my office within 60 seconds
Nice.
with a cold grain belt. Yeah, it's, the technology doesn't all have to be wireless, Wi-Fi, digital,
Right.
whatever. Sometimes you just need a bell.
So to get kids that are this helpful and eager, do you drug them? What's happening over there?
Don't answer that.
What are you doing?
I was about to.
I'm kidding.
But I don't know how this happened, Kyle. I don't know what to tell you.
The training started early,
Yes.
2-3 years old. He
Yeah.
would ring a bell.
I think I know what happened is you find things like that to do for them.
You mean like go get French fries at the drop of a hat? Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Quid
You're
pro
serving
quo.
them the same way. Thinking of cool things to do for your wife, fun little things to do like that.
Yeah.
Puzzle boxes.
Yeah.
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 I think you started it, is what I'm saying.
I might have.
He's giving you a lot of credit, Chad.
I know that is I'm a little weirded out. I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know why Kyle's complimenting me.
Is this really Kyle on there?
Is he
Yeah.
complimenting me or he seems upset, but he's complimenting me at the same
Yeah.
time?
He's got the same
I'm getting
angry
mixed
face,
messages.
but he's
It's
saying
like a
nice
humble
things.
brag.
Yeah.
Well, I
Shit,
figured it out.
backhanded
I
compliment.
figured it out mid-sentence, mid-story, that it was like, oh, I bet it's modeling behavior, and it's because you do stuff like that for them. You try to make cool little scenes happen in your house,
Yeah.
cool little systems, things like that.
I think Chad's rich.
I went positive, so I'm sorry about that. I'll dial it back.
Pull it back. Pull on the reins.
Nice.
Awesome. That was the SDG podcast. If you want to reach out to us, drop us an email at thepodcasters@solutiondesign.com. Until next time, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.